right, with sound advice, since we're doing the blues, I just wanted to give you guys a basic blues sound. And what I love about the blues is that I don't have to do a lot of pedal stomping when I'm playing any kind of blues. I typically will find one patch and stick with it throughout the song. And what I'm doing here today is you can see the settings on your screen. We'll call it those. We're going to do a distortion pedal. It can be an overdrive pedal or a distortion pedal. And what we're using is a gain of about 80%, 70%, somewhere in there, 70 to 80%. Our tone I have a little bit higher at about 65%, and the reason I have it there is because you want a little bit more of those high notes, especially on a Gibson like this, but even on a Strat, it's just that kind of twangier sound you're going to get up on the higher registers that really cut. So you want a little bit brighter than you might normally have your distortion setting. And then your level, I have mine at 50%, say yours wherever the right volume is. But notice this, when you're playing with your distortion, pay attention to see if when you adjust the level, if it actually adjusts the sound, if it colors the sound at all. It may just be a volume knob, but in some cases the level will actually change the way the distortion sounds a little bit. So if that's the case, what you want to do is find what your best distortion sound is to you personally, whatever level that is, and then use the volume on your amplifier to change the sound. That might be a good way to go with that. And our reverb settings, I've got the room selected, which instead of a hall, a big room, this is basically a smaller room. On my GT6, it's called a room, so I'm just calling it room 1. But the real setting is in the seconds. So we're only doing 1.4 seconds, so it's a relatively short decay, which means you hit the note and the reverb's pretty slow. It decays pretty fast, I should say. It doesn't last a real long time. And then the level of it I have down to about 40, so it's not real wet either. It's just kind of more an ambiance. It's more to simulate what a guitar might sound like coming out of an amplifier dry in a smaller club setting or a smaller room. You kind of get a little bit of that natural reverb. So here's the basic tone that we'll be using when we get to the riff of the show. It's just an overdrive with the verb. You kind of get an idea. You can hear that it works well with rhythm and it works well with lead. So experiment. Now, the numbers that I give you and the numbers you see on your screen, those aren't exact. Those are ballpark. Every distortion pedal, every overdrive pedals are substantially different, so you want to play around with it. But the overall vibe is to get a pretty heavy gain, a little bit more top end, and make the reverb sound like you're in a little bit smaller room, and that'll give you the effect of just kind of a good, gritty blues guitar sound. All right, as we reach into the mailbag, I got a question from Mike L., and I actually got this a little while back, but I thought it was a great question. He says, I have often heard of people referring to a 1-4-5 chord progression. What does that mean? Well, the 1-4-5 is typically the most common chord progression, I think, right out of the box that people learn, especially for the blues. What a 1-4-5 is referring to is scale tones, kind of what we were talking about at the beginning in the All About Technique section where we talked about the 1 to the flat 3 and all that. Here's what it boils down to. All the scale tones are based off of the 1-octave major scale. If I play my 1-octave major scale, I have 7 scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay? The scale pattern, for those of you that don't know, it would be this. It'd be starting on a C, it'd be 3rd fret, on the 5th string to the 5th fret, starting with finger 2. We're going to go 2, 3, 5 on the 4th string, and 2, 4, 5 on the 3rd string. So again, 5th string, 3, 5, 4th string, 2, 3, 5, and then 3rd string, 2, 4, 5. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, essentially. Okay, what the 1-4-5 is simply referring to the scale degrees. Each scale degree is a number. The first scale degree, the second scale degree, or scale tone, same thing. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 1 again. So if we look at the 1, that's always our root note. In case of C, it would be a C. Then I can go up to the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be my F. And my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be my G. So 1, 4, 5 in the key of C would be a C, F, G, and back to the 4 if I wanted to, back to the F, and back up to the C, the 1. Now there's a cool little pattern that you can find to make this real simple for you. If you don't want to go through the whole hassle of using the major scale right now, the simple pattern is this. Find whatever root note you want. Okay, say it's a B. I can go to my 6th string and find my B. And I've taught you this on previous shows, so make sure you watch all the Ultimate Guitar shows and you'll have this down. E, F, G, A, B. So 7th fret, 6th string. The 1-4-5, one chord is always going to be on the 6th string with my root note. Then all I do to go to the 4 chord is move directly down 1 string. In this case, now it becomes an A, B, C, D, E. And then my 5 chord is 2 frets up from my 4 chord. So that becomes an F sharp. So I have B, E, F sharp. One more time. B, move down, and then move over 2 frets. And that's my 1, my 4, my 5. And that will be true for all keys if you start the root note on the 6th string. So what we're going to be doing at the next part of the show, the riff of the show, we're going to be doing a G blues. Okay, we're going to do a 1, 4, 5 in the key of G. Now we might play a 1 to a 5, then do a 1 to a 4. You might play them out of order, but the 3 chords we will be using will be the 1, the 4, and the 5. So what I'll do here is I'll tell you what those chords in advance will be. If we start on the E string, E, F, G, my 1 chord is going to be some kind of a G, right? When I mean some kind, I mean it could be major, minor, dominant. Depends on what kind of blues we're going for. My 4 chord will be right below it. In that case, A, B, C. So my 4 is going to be some kind of a C. And then my 5 is 2 frets up from there, which is a D. So the 3 chords I'll be using, the 1, G, the 4 will be a C, and the 5 will be a D. And that's how you find your 1, 4, 5, and that's what 1, 4, 5 refers to.